trapped among alien women, and they won't let me escape their desires. Crash landing on Nixara. The emergency klaxons screamed as Elian Voss fought with the failing controls of his research vessel. The ship bucked and shuddered, systems failing one after another as it plunged through the atmosphere of the uncharted planet below. "Hold together, just a little longer," he muttered, his dark hair falling across his forehead as sweat beaded on his brow. The navigational system had been damaged in the meteor shower that had knocked him off course, and now he was heading straight for a planet that wasn't supposed to exist according to Federation charts. The ship groaned as the hull temperature reached critical levels. Through the viewport, Elian glimpsed lush purple vegetation covering rolling hills beneath swirling lavender clouds. It was beautiful, and about to become his final resting place unless he could manage a controlled crash. With a final desperate maneuver, he aimed for a clearing and braced for impact. The jarring collision knocked him unconscious. When Elian awoke, the scent of sweet, unfamiliar flowers filled his nostrils. His eyes fluttered open to see a face hovering above his own, a face with skin that seemed to shimmer with a subtle iridescence, large almond-shaped eyes of deep violet, and hair that floated around her head as if underwater. Despite the normal gravity, he's awake. "Zephyra," the being called over her shoulder in perfect universal standard. Much to Elian's surprise, another figure stepped into view, taller and more commanding. Her eyes were silver and a circlet of luminescent crystals adorned her brow. "Welcome to Nixara, traveler," she said, her voice melodious yet authoritative. "I am Zephyra, guardian of the Eastern Astrali." Elian tried to sit up, wincing at the pain in his ribs. "Elian Voss, Federation Explorer," he managed. "Thank you for not letting me die." Zephyra's lips curved into a smile. "We sensed your vessel's distress. The Astrali do not ignore those in need." As his vision cleared, Elian realized he was in some sort of dwelling made from living plants, their structures woven together to form walls and ceiling. Outside, through translucent windows, he could see more of the Astrali moving about. All appeared as women with the same otherworldly beauty as his rescuers. "Your ship is badly damaged," said the first being who had spoken. "I'm Lyria, by the way. I've never met a human before. How do you know what humans are?" Elian asked, suspicion mixing with curiosity. Zephyra exchanged a glance with Lyria. "We have encountered your kind before long ago, but that is a story for when you're stronger." She placed a cool hand on his forehead, and Elian felt a strange tingling sensation spread through him, easing his pain. "Rest now," Zephyra whispered, her silver eyes holding his gaze. "You're safe here, Elian Voss. Tomorrow, when the twin moons rise, we will show you our world." As sleep claimed him again, Elian couldn't help but wonder if he should be more concerned about being stranded on an unknown planet. Yet something about Zephyra's touch had left him feeling strangely at peace, as if he had found something he hadn't known he was searching for. The Garden of Whispers, the twin moons of Nixara cast an ethereal blue-silver glow across the landscape as Zephyra led Elian through what the Astrali called the Garden of Whispers. Exotic flowers closed at his approach, only to reopen after he passed, emitting soft musical notes that created a symphony of gentle sounds. "Our connection to the planet runs deeper than mere habitation," Zephyra explained, her silver eyes reflecting the moonlight. "The Astrali and Nixara share a symbiotic relationship. We nurture the land and it sustains us." Elian observed how the plant seemed to reach toward Zephyra as she passed. "It's unlike anything I've documented in my explorations," he admitted, mesmerized by the way her iridescent skin seemed to pulse with inner light in the darkness. They reached a cliff overlooking a vast valley where an intricate city bloomed, living structures that grew from the earth itself, illuminated by bioluminescent flora. Hundreds of Astrali moved through the organic metropolis, their forms graceful and fluid. "Tomorrow Lyria will take you to your ship," Zephyra said. "We've stationed guards around it. Some of our wildlife can be curious about new technology." As if summoned by her name, Lyria appeared from a nearby path, her violet eyes sparkling with mischief. "Guardian, the elders request your presence for the evening council." Zephyra nodded and turned to Elian. "Lyria will see you safely to your quarters." After Zephyra departed, Lyria's formal demeanor melted away. "So, spaceman, ready to see something really spectacular?" Without waiting for an answer, she grabbed his hand, sending a warm tingle up his arm. She led him to a secluded grotto where crystal formations reflected the moonlight in dazzling patterns. "The pools of reflection," she whispered, dipping her fingers into the clear water. The liquid clung to her skin like mercury before sliding back into the pool. "It's beautiful," Elian murmured, crouching beside her. "Many believe these waters show glimpses of possible futures," Lyria said, her playful tone taking on a more thoughtful quality. "What future do you see for yourself, Elian Voss? Will you rush to repair your ship and leave us behind?" The question caught him off guard. He'd been so captivated by this world that he'd almost forgotten his mission. "I have responsibilities, people expecting my return." "Of course," Lyria replied, but her smile didn't reach her eyes. "Still, Nixara has a way of changing those who visit. Few leave unchanged." On their return, they encountered Naya, the colony's healer, gathering luminous mushrooms near the path. With eyes the color of amber and a more reserved demeanor than Lyria's, she nonetheless greeted Elian warmly. "Your injuries are healing well," she observed, her gaze assessing. "But there's something else. A loneliness that predates your crash." Elian felt strangely transparent under her perceptive gaze. "Occupational hazard of solo exploration," he deflected. Naya smiled knowingly. "Perhaps Nixara has more to offer you than just repair materials for your ship." That night, in his living quarters that seemed to breathe with the rhythm of the planet, Elian found himself torn between duty and the inexplicable pull he felt toward this world, and especially toward the enigmatic Zephyra, whose silver eyes haunted his dreams. Celestial dance a week into his stay on Nixara, Elian worked diligently on his ship repairs. The damage was substantial but not irreparable, especially with the unexpected assistance of the Astrali. They provided him with a crystal-based energy source that could power his vessel, and materials stronger than any alloy he'd encountered in Federation space. Zephyra visited him daily, ostensibly to check on his progress, but their conversations had grown increasingly personal. Today she found him beneath the ship's hull, recalibrating the navigation system. "The celestial dance begins tonight," she announced as he slid out from under the panel. "It happens once every cycle when the twin moons align. I would be honored if you would attend as my guest." Elian wiped his hands on a cloth, noticing how Zephyra's eyes followed the movement. "What exactly is this dance?" "It's our most sacred ceremony, a celebration of cosmic harmony and—" She paused, a faint color rising to her cheeks. "Connection." That evening, Elian found himself in a vast clearing where hundreds of Astrali had gathered. Glowing orbs floated above them, pulsing in time with music that seemed to emanate from the planet itself. Zephyra appeared in ceremonial attire, a flowing gown that mimicked the night sky, with crystals that sparkled like stars. "You came," she said, her usual composure giving way to a genuine smile that made Elian's heart race. The music swelled, and the Astrali began to move in synchronized patterns. Zephyra took Elian's hands. "Just follow my lead," she whispered, drawing him into the dance. As they moved together, Elian felt a strange energy flowing between them. The boundaries between his consciousness and the world around him began to blur. He caught glimpses of Zephyra's thoughts, her fascination with him, her responsibility to her people, and something deeper she kept carefully guarded. "What's happening?" he gasped, overwhelmed by the intimacy of the connection. "The dance opens pathways between minds," she explained, her face close to his. "It's how we truly come to understand one another." Across the clearing, Elian spotted Lyria dancing with several other Astrali, her laughter carrying over the music. Nearby, even the reserved Naya moved with surprising grace, her amber eyes occasionally meeting his with knowing wisdom. As the moons reached their zenith directly overhead, Zephyra led Elian to the center of the clearing. The music reached a crescendo, and impulsively he pulled her closer. Their lips met in a kiss that sent shockwaves through his system. Her essence tasted of starlight and possibilities. When they finally broke apart, breathless, Zephyra's silver eyes were wide with surprise and something else, desire mingled with uncertainty. "Your ship will be ready to leave in 3 days," she said softly. Elian felt a pang in his chest at the thought. "What if I'm not ready to leave?" he asked, surprising himself with the admission. Zephyra's expression grew serious. "There are things about Nixara and the Astrali you don't yet understand, Elian. Things that might change how you feel. Before he could ask what she meant, a distant rumble shook the ground. The celebration halted as all eyes turned toward the horizon where an ominous red glow had appeared in the night sky. "The burning," Naya whispered from nearby, her face pale. "It's coming earlier than predicted." Zephyr's hand tightened around Elian's. "We must prepare," she said, her voice taking on the authority of leadership once more. "The time of trial is upon us." The coming storm, the celebration dissolved into organized chaos as the Astrali moved with practiced efficiency. Zephyr's commanding presence directed them to various tasks while Elian stood bewildered by the sudden shift. "What is the burning?" he asked Naya, who was gathering medicinal plants with urgent precision. "A solar flare from our star," she explained, her amber eyes reflecting the growing red glow on the horizon. "It happens every few cycles, but this one is early and from the readings unusually powerful." Lyria appeared, her usual playfulness replaced by determination. "The protective shields need reinforcement. We're short on crystal and core components." Elian's mind raced through possibilities. "My ship's deflector array uses similar technology. I could reconfigure it to boost your shields." Zephyra overheard and approached. "That would leave your ship vulnerable, possibly damaged beyond repair when the burning hits." "Better my ship than your people," Elian replied without hesitation. Something flickered in Zephyr's eyes. Gratitude mixed with admiration. "Very well. We accept your help, Elian Voss." Through the night, Elian worked alongside the Astrali engineers, dismantling his deflector array and integrating it into their shield system. His expertise in Federation technology complemented their knowledge of the crystal amplifiers, creating a solution neither could have achieved alone. Dawn brought a sky-stained crimson, the air growing noticeably warmer. Zephira found Elian adjusting the final calibrations on a shield generator. "You should rest," she said softly, placing a cool hand on his sweat-dampened shoulder. "I'm almost finished," he replied, then hesitated. "Zephira, there's something I need to ask. Last night you said there were things about the Astrali I don't understand. What did you mean?" Her silver eyes clouded. "The burning isn't just a threat to our structures. It affects us physically, alters our biochemistry. We become different during this time." "Different how?" A tremor ran through her iridescent skin. "More primal. The radiation triggers changes that heighten certain instincts. It's why we built the shields in the first place. Not just for protection, but for containment." Before Elian could press further, a siren wailed across the settlement. The first wave of the solar event had arrived. "It's starting," Zephira whispered. "You should seek shelter in the central chambers with the vulnerable ones." "I'm staying with you," Elian insisted, reaching for her hand. Zephira's fingers intertwined with his, her skin unusually warm. "Then be prepared, Elian. What you see of us during the burning may change how you feel about the Astrali, about me." As the red light intensified, Elian noticed Zephira's pupils dilate until her eyes were almost entirely black. Around them, other Astrali were showing similar changes, their skin luminescence pulsing with increased intensity, movements becoming more fluid and predatory. Lyria appeared, her normally playful demeanor now intense and focused. "The eastern shield sector is fluctuating," she reported, her voice deeper than usual. Elian watched in fascination and concern as the Astrali he'd come to know transformed before him. He realized he faced a choice that would determine not only his future, but possibly his survival. Remain and face whatever came with the burning, or take his partially dismantled ship and attempt to escape while he still could. The sky blazed red overhead as the first true wave of radiation crashed against the shields, bathing everything in crimson light. And in that moment, looking at Zephira's transformed face, Elian made his decision. Between two worlds, the shield dome over the Astrali settlement glowed ruby red as it absorbed the brunt of the solar radiation. Inside, the atmosphere had become charged with an almost tangible energy that affected everyone, but none more visibly than the Astrali themselves. Elian worked frantically with Naya to stabilize a failing shield generator. The healer's amber eyes had darkened to a burnished gold, and her movements were unnaturally quick as she manipulated the crystal arrays. "How are you holding up?" he asked, concerned by the changes he was witnessing. Naya gave him a smile that revealed slightly sharper teeth than before. "The transformation is uncomfortable but not painful. We've evolved to endure the burning." Across the settlement, Elian had observed the Astrali becoming more instinctual. Some retreated into meditative isolation, while others formed close-knit groups that moved with pack-like coordination. Most concerning was how they looked at him now, with a hunger that had nothing to do with food. Lyria had warned him hours earlier, "Stay close to Zephyra. As guardian, she retains more control than most of us during the burning. She'll protect you." Finding Zephyra proved challenging. When he finally located her in the ceremonial chamber, she was alone, her skin pulsing with light that matched the rhythm of the shield impacts above. "You shouldn't be here, Elian," she said without turning, her voice resonating strangely in the chamber. "I'm not leaving you," he replied, stepping closer despite his instincts warning him to keep his distance. Zephyra turned, revealing her transformed state. Her silver eyes now shimmered with an internal fire, and her hair floated around her as if suspended in an unseen current. "The burning reveals our true nature," she said. "We are not simply humanoid beings as you might have thought. The Astrali are energy transmitters. We absorb cosmic radiation and transform it. That's why you look different now," Elian realized. "You're processing the solar flare energy." "Yes." She moved toward him with fluid grace. "But the energy creates needs, desires that become difficult to control. It's why off-worlders are typically not allowed on Nixara during these times. The attraction becomes overwhelming." "Attraction to what?" "To life force," she whispered, now standing directly before him. "To consciousness different from our own. To you, Elian." His heart raced as she raised a hand to his cheek, her touch sending pleasurable electrical currents through his body. "Is that why I feel this pull toward you? Some kind of alien biochemistry?" Zephyra's expression softened. "The attraction is real but magnified during the burning. What you feel now is what I feel always when I'm with you." The confession hung between them as the shields above flickered dangerously. An alarm sounded and Lyria's voice came over the communication system. "Eastern shield collapsing. All personnel evacuate to central chambers." Elian knew his partially dismantled ship couldn't escape the solar storm now. He was committed to weathering the burning with the Astrali, with Zephyra. "What can I do?" he asked. Zephyra's eyes flared brighter. "Trust me," she whispered, drawing him into an embrace that felt like falling into a star. Their kiss unleashed a torrent of sensations, memories, emotions, and consciousness flowing between them. Elian felt Zephyra's centuries of existence, her loneliness as guardian, and her genuine affection for him that transcended physical attraction. Around them, the chamber began to glow as Zephyra channeled the excess energy safely away from the settlement. Other Astrali joined them, forming a circle of light that strengthened as the burning reached its peak. Hours later, when the solar storm finally subsided, Elian stood with Zephyra at his ship, now fully repaired with Astrali technology that would take Federation scientists decades to understand. "You could return to your people," Zephyra said. Her appearance returned to normal, though her eyes retained a hint of that inner fire. "Your mission, your duties, they still exist." Elian looked from his ship to the Astrali settlement that had become more than just a temporary haven. "Some explorations aren't meant to end," he replied, taking her hand. "Some discoveries change the explorer forever." Zephyra's smile lit up her face as she understood his decision. "The stars will always be there," she agreed. "But what we've found here is rarer still." Behind them, Lyria and Naya approached with others from the settlement, no longer strangers, but a community that had accepted him as one of their own. As the twin moons rose once more over Nixara, Elian embraced his new life, not as a castaway but as a bridge between two worlds, bound by something more powerful than any solar flare, the universal language of connection that transcended the vast differences between them. In the garden where they had first walked together, Elian and Zephyra planted a Federation beacon that would guide other explorers to Nixara, not as a distress signal, but as an invitation to discovery. And as night fell, the Astrali began a new celestial dance, this time with Elian not as an observer, but as an integral part of the cosmic harmony they celebrated.